What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jacob from Topside MMA, and today I'm coming at you with my full card breakdown for UFC 321. You guys know the deal. We're going to break down every single fight, and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know to make your picks, to make your bets. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First up, we got Jaqueline Amorim versus Mizuki Inoue. This is a really tricky matchup because these are two pretty high-level girls. You know, they haven't beat the best of the best, but on the other hand, they're both very high-level mixed martial artists, and it's just a little bit of a confusing one for me because on one hand, we have Jaqueline Amorim, who in recent years has looked great. You know, she's been pretty damn active the last couple years. She's on a great career path trajectory. She keeps getting better and better. I love what I've seen from Jaqueline Amorim, and, you know, I love her. She has really cashed us in the past, had her as a max bet against Polyana Viana via submission. Absolutely cashed us there. So Jaqueline Amorim has been a real favorite of mine in terms of the bet. She's been absolutely amazing. She has that world-class BJJ game. She's a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So if it gets to the ground, she's a specimen. You know, that's where she thrives. She wants to take it to the ground. That's where she likes to be. As you can see from her record, from her stats, you can see she lands 2.22 average takedowns per 15 minutes, 37% accuracy. But she likes to take it to the ground. That is her sweet spot. That's where she wants to be. Now, on the other hand, we have Mizuki Inoue, who's actually pretty decently well-rounded too. The main concern here with this matchup is that with Mizuki, we have not seen her, as you can see in the bottom right, with the top 5 or the last 5 recent fights. She has not fought since December of 2023. That is a concern because there's a lot of questions regarding Mizuki, and it's not like she's out of there. It's not like she's on maternity leave or something. She's been dealing with a ton of bad injuries throughout her entire career. So there are a lot of red flags, a lot of concerns. She's had injuries from her knees to her eye. I mean, she's had injuries every which way you can think about. So it's a real problem considering that's going to affect her game. We don't know how she's going to look. I mean, we haven't seen her in this long because she's been dealing with these injuries. Is she fully healed? Who knows? It's really hard to tell with her. And the thing is that she is 31 years old. So she's in her physical prime, and she's actually a decent mixed martial artist. Now, if you look at her record of 15-6, you could say, ooh, doesn't look the best on paper. However, in her recent years, her most recent losses have all been against UFC level competition, like an Alexa Grasso or a Verna Jandiroba, and Amanda Lemos is in there too. She's losing against high level girls, so it's not like she's having terrible losses. Now, she has had some concerns in the past regarding her ground game on the ground, like being taken down. That has been a bit of an issue. But more importantly, for me, the thing that's really standing out to most of me, that's a worry for Mizuki in this fight, is that she has been so damn injury prone. That is what's really keeping me off of this because this line is extremely wide. I do think this line could be a potential, I don't want to say dumpster fire. I could see maybe it blowing up. I don't know. I just have a little bit of doubt in the back of my mind on this fight because you look at Jaqueline Amorim and you look at her record. I love her. You know, she's cashed this big time, but she hasn't fought the highest level of competition in MMA. Now, you look at a record of 4-1, you're like, all right, in the UFC at least, you're like, all right, that's great. You know, it looks great. When you look at her level of competition, all right, her recent fights, she's beaten girls like a Polyana Viana that we talked about, who's really not good. Vanessa Demopoulos, not a world beater. Corey McKenna, decent. And before that, it was Montserrat Conejo Ruiz. It's like these wins are not, they're not bad. Except maybe the Polyana Viana one. But they're not bad besides that one, but they're not great. And on the other hand, the one time she's fought in a real decent competitor who's a real contender, and Sam Hughes, she lost. So I do have some concerns. You know, the time that she did lose against Sam Hughes, it was her UFC debut. When was it? Back in 2023. So, you know, she's had some time to grow from that. I just have that worry in the back of my mind of like, all right, you know, I'm not saying Mizuki is some world beater, but I mean, she's a decent MMA fighter, better than some of the girls on the list of her previous fights. I mean, over a Demopoulos or a Polyana Viana, maybe comparable. I don't really know. I hope you guys get what I'm saying, though. I do have a bit of a doubt in the back of my mind about this, especially it's mainly so it's like minus 400 money line on Jaqueline Amorim is a bit wide. But who knows? Maybe she gets out there and Mizuki really looks completely washed. She could look like a minus 1,000. Jaqueline Amorim, I mean, she could look like a minus 1,000 if Mizuki's really washed and just taking a fight just to get a contract or fulfill her contract, get a payday. I mean, who knows? I haven't really seen any recent footage of Mizuki. I need to deep dive a little bit more into her, see in her recent form how she's been looking in terms of the training and the sparring, because I haven't really been able to see it. So I do have some worries. I know a ton of people are super high on Jaqueline Amorim this week, and I really like her a lot. You know, I think she's pretty good, and I think the more that she's able to kind of like extend herself, you know, I mean, she does have that super high level BJJ world champion in BJJ base, like we talked about. That so I know that she does have obviously the ground game. That's where she wants to be. That's where she's elite. It's more so she's been becoming more well-rounded and mixing out her skills the last couple of years as she transitioned into MMA. Is Mizuki going to be the one to derail the Jaqueline Amorim hype train? I really don't think so. With all these injuries throughout the years, from her knees to her eyes, I mean, it's like been a complete nightmare. And I feel terrible for Mizuki. She's really been robbed of her prime years. As you can see, 31 years old. She's in her prime. So, I mean, I feel terrible that she's really had to deal with all these injuries. And it's like, I don't know. It's one of those where I almost kind of wanted to stay off of this one. The pick's got to be Jaqueline Amorim because we haven't seen anything from Mizuki. I really like Jaqueline Amorim. I think she is a high-level fighter, and she's going to continue to get better and better at only 30 years old. But I would have a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of reserves. Maybe we got to see how Mizuki comes in fight week. Maybe I need to do a little bit more research in terms of her recent form, see what she's been looking like in terms of the training. Let me know if you guys have any opinions or inputs on this one or something that I'm not saying, because I would love to hear your guys' opinions on this one, because I'm not super sure of where Mizuki really is at in 2025. I mean, she's been dealing with a lot, so anything could have changed from here and then, so I don't really know, but let me know in the comments. But like I said, the pick's got to be Jaqueline Amorim. She's really just on a crazy trajectory right now. She's looked better and better with every fight, even though the level of competition hasn't been the best. I think she should be able to beat a girl like a Mizuki in a way. So, yeah, that does it for this one. I don't want to ramble too long about this. But next up, we got Azat Maksum versus Mitch Raposo. Now, this is a tricky one, too, because on one hand, I like Azat Maksum, but I wasn't super high on him before. I'm not going to lie. Before that Ciryl Gane fight, I wasn't super high on him. You know, I was really high on Ciryl in their fight. I was very confident in him. I was like, all right, if Charles Johnson was winning grappling exchanges and was able to really go in there and look solid in the scrambles and the grappling against a guy like Azat Maksum, Ciryl should be able to have his way in the grappling and in the wrestling. And I went back, I was watching that Ciryl fight. I was like, oh my goodness. You know, it was pretty crazy. Azat Maksum was having a ton of grappling and wrestling success against Ciryl Gane, one of the Khabib guys, one of the Dagestani camp guys. I mean, it was pretty competitive back and forth. And I went back and looked at it. I was like, oh my goodness, on the stats for that fight, Ciryl Gane versus Azat Maksum, Ciryl wasn't even able to land takedowns against Azat Maksum, which is pretty insane. I went back on it. Ciryl went 0 for 8. 0 for 8 on takedowns against Azat Maksum, and Azat Maksum was able to actually land 3 out of 7 total takedowns. Now, Ciryl ended up having a lot more control time, even though he wasn't able to land takedowns, but still, ever since that fight, you know, my stock for Azat Maksum has gone up. You know, I really am like, okay, he really impressed me a lot in that fight, because we already knew that he could strike. You know, he looked good on the feet against Charles Johnson, who's a high-level striker, and he looked great in the grappling against Ciryl Gane. Now, seeing both of those aspects of his game and really prove him against higher-level fighters, I don't want to say I'm like sold, but in this type of a matchup against a guy like Mitch Raposo, the pick is extremely clear, and I like Azat Maksum to win this fight quite a bit. Now, with Mitch Raposo, he just hasn't really shown me anything in his fights to give me a whole lot of confidence that he's going to come in here, push a pace, and make it a gritty fight. He just doesn't do that. And it's weird, too, because Mitch Raposo really is a striker. I had this in my notes. He spends 85% of the time in the cage at distance striking, which is insane. It's like, okay, well, he's a striker. He wants to strike from distance. You look at his stats, the guy's not even throwing. I mean, you compare the volume between these two guys. Maksum's landing 3.24 significant strikes per minute. Mitch Raposo's landing 1.62. If this is a back and forth striking match, I mean, it is not going to be pretty. It is not going to look good at all. I mean, Azat Maksum is likely going to come in here and double him up on significant strikes. That's not going to land on the scorecards. And after seeing the last performance of Azat Maksum against Ciryl Gane, I trust his grappling. I'm not worried about him getting wrestle-fucked and have a wet blanket on him the entire time. If anything, if Azat Maksum's in trouble, he can do that to Mitch Raposo. There's just nowhere where I feel like Mitch Raposo is going to be dangerous enough to present a significant threat to Azat Maksum in this fight. I'm not worried about him on the feet, although Mitch Raposo definitely probably wants to stay on the feet and strike back and forth. Azat Maksum is a crisp striker. He was giving Charles Johnson problems, and I rate Charles Johnson a hell of a lot higher than a Mitch Raposo. So I could see him hang there. And worst case is Azat Maksum has to deal with some trouble on the feet. Maybe he wants to go for a takedown. He can land a takedown. I mean, as you can see from his stats too, he does land 2.33 average takedowns across 15 minutes in the cage. Although he's not landing them at a very high clip, only 28%. He still is not afraid to grapple, and he's a pretty well-rounded guy. This feels like a spot where he can really bounce back after that Ciryl loss. And I'm telling you guys, I mean, if you rewatch that fight, I was high on Ciryl. I bet on Ciryl, and I'm watching that fight. I remember watching it when it was live. I was like, oh my goodness, like, this is a lot closer than I thought. And ever since then, I'm like, you know what, Azat Maksum, I underestimated your game. I apologize. So in this fight, especially, like I said, Mitch Raposo is really just not a world beater. Hasn't fought anyone that he's looked great against. And even before the UFC, he didn't really have any great wins either. I mean, he lost to Jake Hadley. He submitted his ass, and I forget what promotion. So I'm like, I've never really been high on Mitch Raposo. He hasn't really proven himself. At 27, he's going to get better and better. I will say he's going to improve from fight to fight. And on being the devil's advocate, I guess, you could say Azat Maksum, well, he's getting into these very close fights. You know what I mean? He's making these fights go a lot closer than they should be. And you know what I mean? Especially against like Charles Johnson went to a decision. Taguera went to a close decision. I believe that was a split, right? No, it was unanimous. Oh shit. I thought it was a split. But it was a split against Tyson Nam. That was his first fight in the UFC. That's what it was. So he's letting these fights go close. He's letting them go to a decision. You could have a little bit of hesitancy, especially because his line is a minus 350 in the spot. But at the same time, that's exactly what Mitch Raposo does too. You look at his 3 fights. Although, I forget, Andre Lima is a quality fight, even though he did lose. He lost a split decision, even though that is a quality loss. But he definitely was a step behind in that fight. Wasn't the most inspiring loss, even having it as a split decision loss. And Sumaderji too, I do rate him. I don't think he's a bad fighter. That's not a bad loss, but at the same time, that's a winnable fight. He could have won that. I think that's a much easier of a fight than a Charles Johnson or Taguera Rebecki. So just from Mitchell, I haven't really seen a lot of hunger and grit and willingness to really go out there and make it ugly, make it scrappy, and really dig deep to get a win, because he really is kind of content with staying on his bike and making it go long and making it a point fight and really not biting down on the mouthpiece and making it a war. And I can't get behind a guy like that, especially halfway across the world. They're in Dubai, and now he's going to fight I know he's not a OVEV last name and Azat Maksum, but I believe he's a Kazakhstani, right? Oh yeah, I got it on here. Kazakhstani guy. So he's going to need all the favors he can get in the world to get a win here. Mitch Raposo, that is. So I like Azat Maksum in this. I really don't think I feel like Azat Maksum is better than Mitch Raposo in every single aspect of the game. I mean, he's a better striker. He's a better grappler. I'm not worried about anything coming back his way in terms of the power. Azat Maksum hasn't shown us any chin problems or any grappling discrepancies that we need to be worried of. There's not a whole lot of holes in Azat Maksum's game, if any, that I'm worried about. And especially a guy like Mitch Raposo, I just don't think he quite has enough to beat him and really get to a win here. I just don't see it happening. The line, you could say, is a tad wide, but at the same time, I kind of agree with it. I do believe Azat Maksum should be quite a nicely sized favorite here. I think he's really proven it at a higher level compared to a guy like Mitch. So I like Azat in this, but I can see why people are a little hesitant. But in terms of the pick, all day, every day, going Azat Maksum, easy one. Boom. Next up, we got Hamdy Abdelwahab versus Chris Barnett. Now, I am a bit biased. I am a Chris Barnett fan. Beast Boy is my guy. So I will say, going into this, I am a bit biased into this matchup. However, objectively, I really don't get why Hamdy Abdelwahab is a minus 450 favorite here. I mean, you look through his fights. I put this in my notes because I wanted to make sure I got every point across here. You look at Hamdy Abdelwahab, technically 4-1. ESPN has him as like a 6-1 record, 4-1 record. You look at his fights now. Hamdy Abdelwahab apparently has this, I believe it's like a Greco wrestling style that he's like been bragging about throughout the years, and he's apparently with some high-level contender in Greco-Roman wrestling or whatever. You look at his fights, though. You look at his mixed martial arts fights. You look at him. He came into the UFC 3-0 at the time, with one of those wins being due to injury. So, realistically, he came into the UFC at 2-0. He made his UFC debut in 2022 against Dante Almeida, but the fight was overturned because he popped for steroids. So, we're not even counting that. All right, so he comes in, first fight, pops for roids. Now we're starting fresh. After he got off the gear, after he popped for steroids, he lost a grappling match in 2024 where he got submitted almost instantly. Then after that, he won a split decision robbery against Jamal Pogues. And then after that, he lost the unanimous decision to Mohammed Usman. So since being off of the gear, he got choked out in 2 minutes in some grappling match. He won a robbery decision where he lost, and he lost to Mohammed Usman. So really, off the gear, he's 0-2 in the UFC, and he lost a grappling match. I mean, this guy is not beating the bottom of the barrel heavyweights. I mean, if you can't beat an Usman, who else are you going to beat? I mean, this guy off of the gear is not the same guy. He is not good, and I just can't stand Hamdy Abdelwahab. He is not a good fighter, and if you're laying this type of chalk on him, it's absolutely insane because he hasn't proven anything. I mean, off the gear, he's been a tin can. His gas tank is terrible, and he can't even use that wrestling base that he has in his arsenal because he's so worried about gassing out because he's so damn tired. He has no cardio. Going against Chris Barnett. Yes, I know Chris Barnett has dealt with his injuries. Yes, he is a guy who should not even be at heavyweight. Do not get me wrong. I get it. Chris Barnett is a man who has actually weighed in over the heavyweight limit at 5'9", which is absolutely insane. I get anything you could possibly say about Chris Barnett. I get it and I understand it. But at the same time, the guy has some power and the guy can bang. 18-4 to a knockout. The guy has power in his hands. Hamdy is just not that experienced. I mean, I don't get why he's this big of a favorite. I know he's the Egyptian guy fighting in Abu Dhabi. If this goes to the scorecards, there's no way in hell Chris Barnett's going to win a decision unless it's clear as day. So I definitely get that argument. But I mean, Chris Barnett, he's not completely out of it. I mean, he's going into this 3-inch reach advantage. He's probably going to have more power in the hands. Maybe not as good in the wrestling. I don't know. I just don't get why people are all over Hamdy Abdelwahab. He's just not good. And I know Chris Barnett's not a world beater. And I don't want to spend a million years going over this breakdown. Because at the end of the day, Hamdy's probably going to come in here, make it just close enough to where he can edge out another split decision. And I can't say I'll be surprised at that at all. It's just Chris Barnett is my guy. And this is a winnable matchup. I mean, his last fight against Kennedy, he was not winning that fight. I know he got injured right away. There was no way in hell Chris Barnett was going to be Kennedy. However, this is a winnable fight for him. I mean, I'm not saying he will win it. Don't get me wrong. But this is a winnable fight for Chris Barnett. And you're damn right, I'm going to be rooting for Chris Barnett the entire time. Chris Barnett dub inbound. Or at least I'm going to be praying for one. But next up, we got Valter Walker versus Louie Sutherland. Now, this is another weird one because with Louie Sutherland, it's weird. I don't know what to think of this guy. Obviously, we have not seen him in the UFC before. We don't know how he's going to look against higher level of competition. I've heard some rumors and some accusations of him being a bit of a roid monster. I cannot confirm nor deny. I'm saying what I've heard. Word on the street. So I don't really know how he's going to look inside the UFC. I know this is a bit of a short notice step up for him. And honestly, same with Valter Walker too. I mean, this was a short notice matchup. I know we had Valter Walker, he was supposed to fight back in Brazil, and we had Louie Sutherland, who was supposed to fight back in Australia. These guys kind of just threw this matchup together. I get why Valter Walker is a huge favorite here, and I feel like he should be. I don't know. It almost feels like with Bekhaev in like last week's card with Bekhaev, in the sense of he had that real blemish on his record of that Dylan Budka LFA fight, where I was like, ooh, he looked terrible in that match. Like, I don't know if I can get behind him here. Valter Walker still has that blemish of where you can see the one loss in his last 5. You can see on the bottom there. It was such a horrible performance where he was not able to get the takedowns and his striking was just awful. Does not have good striking. So in the back of my mind, I do have this concern of if Valter Walker isn't able to take Louie Sutherland down, we could be in a world of trouble. I mean, these last 3 submission wins, the heel hook demon. Let's say he doesn't get the heel hook against Louie Sutherland. Let's say round 2 starts. How is that going to look? It could be dicey. It could be dicey. Or on the other hand, Valter Walker could come in, land a takedown, submit Louie Sutherland in the first 2.5 minutes. I would not be surprised at all. Valter Walker is one of those guys where he is very young. You got to look at his age. He's 27 years old at heavyweight. He has a lot of time to get better. And I think his cap, like his skill cap overall, is going to be a lot higher than a guy like Louie Sutherland. I really think there's a bright future for Valter Walker. It's just how much has he been able to really refine those hands? Because, I mean, he shit the bed. You can see that decision was in 2024. That's recent enough to where he's not going to turn from those hands to a Mike Tyson in a year and a half. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So it's a matter of how poor is Louie Sutherland on the feet and how great is his takedown defense, because the only thing that we've seen from him is fighting regional guys. And he's looked pretty good in terms of the cardio. It might be competitive. They might have similar levels of cardio. Maybe Louie Sutherland even has the better cardio in the spot. Not really too sure. But we saw Valter Walker. We've seen him gas out before, but the last 3 times, we haven't really needed to. I will say, though, the one thing I will credit Valter Walker is that you look at some of his older fights, he's gotten in a lot better shape. He's gotten a lot more lean, a lot more cut. He's definitely put on a little bit of muscle and gotten a little bit more just like in shape, rather. So I will say he is definitely improving that, and I'm a little bit less worried than in previous fights about him getting tired and slowing down. It's more so just the ability to get takedowns. If he can get takedowns, all he needs is 2 out of 3 rounds. So I get that. On one hand, I think he should be able to take Louie Sutherland down, at least in the first round. in the second. And maybe the third is a bit of a wash. I don't really think Louie Sutherland is going to be dangerous enough if he can wear him down into that third round. Maybe if he's not able to wrap up a submission early, maybe really take the sting off of Louie Sutherland's shots later on as this fight continues, if it is to continue. I don't know. I just have this thought in the back of my mind of that decision loss where it does kind of haunt me a bit on this, especially with him being such a wide favorite. But at the same time, if he was able to do it against a guy like Kennedy, I think he's a lot better. Kennedy's a lot better than a guy like Louie Sutherland. So he's done it to better level fighters. So at the same time, I don't want to overthink it and doubt myself too much, because I do think if Walter Walker was able to do it against higher level guys like a Kennedy, I think he can do it to a guy like Louie Sutherland. So Walter Walker by submission's got to be the pick. Maybe a decision. It could go either way, possibly even a KO. The thing is, though, we haven't seen Louie Sutherland finished. You can see he's 10-3, all 3 losses by decision. How's the ground game going to look? We will have to see. That's why I cannot get behind a submission prop. I look there, it's not great. The odds are cooked. So I'm not playing any props on this. If you want to play Walter Walker by just his money line, you could do it as a parlay piece. But yeah, I can't really get behind the submission props. But let's see how the round lanes go. But in terms of overall, I can't. But anyway, the pick for this one, definitely Walter Walker. Next up, we got Abdul-Kareem Al-Selwady versus Matheus Camilo. I will say, this is one fight I need to do a little more deep diving into because I'm not really super high on either guy. We have Al-Selwady, who really hasn't proven a whole lot in the UFC. As you can see, 0-1. He's chinny. He's been knocked out multiple times. I don't have a ton of faith in his chin. I don't know how it's going to hold up. I mean, he's going to have to come into this with a really grappling heavy game plan. Now, the one thing I will say, though, is that we saw Camilo. His cardio looked atrocious in his UFC debut. I mean, it looked awful. He went for a submission, was not able to get it. Who was it? Gabe Green ended up choking his ass out. That was a poor look. I want to make sure, too, it was a pretty early finish. I mean, he was gassed out quick. What was the time of the stop? The second round, about halfway through the second round. So 1.5 rounds, and Camilo was completely death gassed. Not a good look. You could say it was a UFC debut, maybe UFC jitters, making your debut. He is young, 24 years old, so you got to give him a little bit of credit there. Give him a little bit of slack. But at the same time, he's in a spot where I don't think he's bad. At 24 years old, if you're in the UFC at 24 years old, you got to be solid enough. But it's just he needs to kind of prove it to me. He has to prove that, all right, he can go a bit longer. He can fix that cardio hole in his game, and he can hang at the UFC level. Also, is he really a UFC level guy? Who the hell knows? I mean, he hasn't looked great. I mean, the guy who he got knocked out by Loic, he's actually pretty solid. I mean, he's kind of an underrated fighter. He's not as bad as people might think he is. He can actually hang. So I don't really rate that loss all that poorly. It's just between both of these guys, they both have their issues. I mean, we've seen Al-Selwady, we've seen his chin be a problem for him. We've seen Camilo, his cardio has been a huge problem for him. These guys both have red flags in their game. I'm not getting either way on this one. I'm not getting involved in this in terms of bets at all. This is one I want to sit back on. In terms of the pick, though, I don't know. I really do not have a strong lean on this one. If there's anything you guys want to let me know about this fight, let me know in the comments, because this is one I really am not too fond of. I mean, it should be a fun fight. I'm excited to watch it, but in terms of really deep diving either guy, I feel like there are too many holes in their games, and they haven't proven themselves at a high enough level to give me any type of confidence to where I'm like, all right, I want to get behind them. So maybe the pick for now will be Al-Selwady, but I don't even think this is not really a trap. We kind of know with both of these guys, their holes and their strengths ahead of time here. So there's nothing really, I don't think we're going to see in terms of new holes in their games. You know what I mean? It's more so of who's made more improvements. You know what I mean? Because Al-Selwady, 30 years old, Camilo, 24 years old. These guys can both make improvements. They can get better and better throughout the years. So who knows? Maybe one, two, or either or of them, or maybe both of them end up looking a lot better than they have in the past. Who the hell knows? That's why this is not really a confident pick at all. This is a coin toss. I think the odds are dead, spot on, right where they should be. I guess for now the pick will be Al-Selwady, but very, very low confidence pick. No real confidence at all behind this one. But next up, we got Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Delgado. This is similar to the previous fight, except on a totally opposite scale. I think both of these guys are very high-level guys, for contenders at least. I mean, they're both pretty damn sharp. I mean, they're both pretty well-rounded. I like both of these guys a lot. I will say, Nathaniel Wood, I underestimated him. In his last spot, I faded him. That ended up aging horribly. He looked world-class. I mean, he was so damn fast on the feet. The speed difference between those two in his last fight was absolutely crazy. I was blanking on the damn French pirate, Morgan Charrier, that guy. I was blanking on his name at first. But yeah, he had the speed disadvantage that Charrier was at in that fight was crazy. I mean, it was absolutely insane. I was going to say, he hasn't had a fight since then, has he? Nathaniel Wood, our boy. Because that's the last fight I can remember Looking him up. Yeah. That was his last time before that Daniel Pineda, for that Mohamed Diamov. It's like, it's a little bit weird though, I will say. People could have some reserves for Nathaniel Wood in the sense that, he originally was a bantamweight. Now he's stepping up to featherweight. And it's not his first fight, obviously. He's had multiple fights at both weight classes. But he did make the step up. And he's not really the biggest guy. I mean, 5'6". He's not huge. He could fight at bantamweight. But he is at featherweight now. I will say, though, he's looked really damn good. I mean, he's looked pretty damn impressive. And I think there's going to be a lot of striking in this fight, too. So I think it's not like he has to worry about being completely grapple fucked in this fight. I think there's going to be a whole lot of striking. This is going to be a banger of a fight, I will say. But the one thing you could look at, I'm kind of leaning Jose Delgado in the spot because he does have a couple advantages ever so slightly stylistically in the spot that could give him a slight edge because I expect a lot of striking in this fight. These guys are both quick, sharp, fast strikers on the feet. These guys have some crazy power and some crazy shots that they can land. I mean, they're both very slick. However, Jose Delgado is coming into this fight with quite a big reach advantage. As you can see, it's pretty damn big. And especially too, he's coming into he has a height advantage in the spot. Although I'm not really worried about the height more so as compared to the reach. There's something else I wanted to point in here too. Sorry, I was pulling up my notes. Oh, okay, never mind. Delgado has a 5-inch reach advantage and a 5-inch height advantage, and he's probably the more natural featherweight fighter. Talked about that. We also talked about, we've seen Wood at bantamweight where he started his UFC career, but in recent years he's moved up to featherweight. Oh yeah, the one other thing I wanted to say too is you could look at this, you could dumb it down, you could say, all right, Jose Delgado is finishing all of his opponents. You could look at it like that, and you could look at Nathaniel Wood, and you could say, okay, he's been finished in nearly all of his losses. I mean, out of his he's been 4 out of 6 total losses have been inside the distance where he's been finished. That's been at the UFC and lower level. So, I mean, it's been everywhere he's been finished before. Although he's very sharp and very crisp, there is the ability of Jose Delgado, who's a finisher, who's a fight finisher, good grappling, good power in the hands. He could knock a guy like Nathaniel Wood out. It's just a matter of how confident you want to be in this line. This is a tough one, man, because I think both these guys are really good. So there's a high probability of something going either guy's way in this spot. And I will say, too, I thought I had it in my damn notes, but I don't have it. I thought I wrote it down, but I will say, with this a type of guy like this, where he has this 5-inch reach advantage in this spot, I believe it was a 5-inch. I had it in my notes like that, but okay, yeah, no, 5-inch reach advantage. Stylistically, or statistically rather, he does have, I believe it was like a 55% ever so slight edge statistically in terms of where the guys with the higher reach advantage do win in terms of the majority of fights, in terms of his reach advantage, this particular 5-inch reach advantage. So you could look at it as like the money line, the -140 for Delgado is factoring in that reach advantage. It is factoring in that he is the more durable fighter. As we've seen in the past, Jose Delgado has never been finished. But that being said, on the other side, you could look at Nathaniel Wood as well. He's had more UFC experience. He's fought a whole lot more guys at the UFC level. He's seen a whole lot more. He's really been exposed to a lot more than a guy like Jose Delgado has. Jose Delgado, very green, and he's been quick too. I mean, he ran right through Hyder Mill. That surprised me, and I was underestimating him in that spot, honestly. I was like, before that fight, I was like, well, we haven't really seen enough of Jose Delgado to really be all that confident in him. That Hyder Mill fight shut me up real quick because I'm a big Hyder Mill fan. I know he's not the highest level of guy, and Jose Delgado should have beat a guy like him in hindsight. But at the same time, I really like what I've seen from Jose Delgado. They're 27 years old. His future is going to be crazy. I mean, he's going to get better and better in every single fight that he has. So I'm torn on this one. I do think the line is pretty accurate. This is right where I would line it. Jose Delgado is a very slight favorite. I like him in the spot. I think he should get it done, but not super confident. Wouldn't it be mind-blowing if Nathaniel Wood wins? He's very fast, very quick on the feet. He might have a speed advantage. I don't know. But it's going to be a close fight either way. Wouldn't be surprised if either guy wins. I do just ever so slightly like the reach advantage, and I like the durability side of Jose Delgado, where we have seen some issues with Nathaniel Wood in his durability. He's coming into this with the reach disadvantage, and, he's not really necessarily a natural featherweight. He's been a bantamweight moving up, so there are a couple little factors like that, ever so slightly, that push me towards Jose Delgado. So that's the pick's got to be Jose Delgado for your boy. But next up, we got Nasrat Haqparast versus Quillan Salkilld. Now, this is another one. I mean, this is the battle of inches. I think the line, not too far off. It's more so Quillan Salkilld is pulling up to this fight on very, very short notice. I mean, he has had no longer than a week preparation for this fight. He has to fly from Australia to Abu Dhabi. Nasrat Haqparast, he's been training. I was looking, I saw some picture where it said he's been training for this, and he's actually had multiple opponents lined up for this fight. They just weren't able to book something. He's been ready for this card. He's been ready to fight on this card for quite a while. I imagine he's had an entire training camp preparing, where Quillan Salkilld is just kind of stepping up off the couch. So I think if you got to lean either guy, I mean, I think it's very close. I think skill-wise, these are two high-level guys. They're both young enough to where they're going to improve from fight to fight. I got to lean Nasrat Haqparast. So, you know, if they both had a full training camp and this was in the Apex, maybe I'd lean Quillan Salkilld. I mean, maybe he has the grappling to really take a guy like Nasrat down. Although you can see from Nasrat, 84% takedown defense, very impressive. However, it's just like, I don't know. It's just the full camp, Quillan Salkilld might start to slow down. I mean, we've seen he has that grappling base that he really likes to go. He likes to manhandle guys. Yeah, he knocked out Jubilee in like 30 seconds. I know that was like he was like smoking a cigarette or something. It was pretty tough. I won't lie. Pretty tough. But he is a grappler. He likes to take guys down. And I just don't know if he's going to really be able to do that for 3 full rounds on a short notice step up. I mean, maybe he gets tired. Maybe he starts to slow down. He's been submitted before. Maybe he could get knocked out by a guy like Nasrat Haqparast. Nasrat Haqparast does have some power in his hands. You know, he could knock a guy like Quillan out, stepping up on short notice if he starts to slow down later in this fight. I'm just torn. I mean, this is a high-level fight. I really like both of these guys a lot. I think they're both promising prospects, and we saw Nasrat. I didn't think he was going to beat my boy Esteban Ribovic. He somehow got the nod in that one. So he's pleasantly surprised me in recent years at recent fights. He's proven me wrong. So I am impressed with Nasrat in recent years, even if you could argue against some split decisions in the past. Either way, I mean, still won the fight. So this is going to be in Abu Dhabi, though, too. He is the Egyptian man, or no, sorry, Afghanistan man, or Afghani man, rather. So it's going to be like in his home backyard. I mean, he's going to have the advantage here. If it goes to a split decision, because I look at it in terms of Quillan Salkilld, his best way to win here is probably going to be the grapple. If it's back and forth where he gets outstruck, but he has 2 minutes of control time, and there are just these very tightly scored rounds where it could go either man's way, kind of like last week with Vera versus Ayman Zahabi. If it's going to go either way and it's that close of a split round, it's probably going to go to Nasrat. So that being said, I'm leaning Nasrat in this fight ever so slightly. I just like that he's been training for this. He's in his home backyard. He's going to have the advantage likely on the feet. And as long as he can stop the takedowns, I really think he can win this fight. So the pick's got to be Nasrat. But like I said, Quillan Salkilld, still a very high-level dude. I think he's going to be a promising little contender. You know, he's a promising prospect, rather, in the UFC. I just don't know if he's going to get the nod this time. But anyway, next up, we got Ludovit Klein versus Matheus Rebecki. This is the one where I had the damn stats on. I thought I had the reach stats on the Jose Delgado Nathaniel Wood fight, but it was this one actually. This is why I have a slight lean towards Ludovit Klein in this spot. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up I can't find where the damn stat thing is. But I have a slight lean towards Ludovit Klein in this spot. There we go. Because I'm just looking at this in terms of like, this is an even match fight with two high-level guys. They're both decent wrestlers. I guess you could say Rebecki definitely has the better wrestling game, though Ludovit Klein has shown holes in there. But on the feet, they're both high-level strikers. They're both well-rounded, high-level dudes. You look at their records, they stand tall. They're only losing against high-level competition. The thing, though, I'm leaning towards Ludovit Klein for a couple reasons. Small reasons, though. Would I be surprised if Rebecki wins this fight? Absolutely not. We saw Ludovit Klein. We saw in his last fight against Gamrot, he looked like shit in the wrestling. Gamrot was able to have his way on the ground, and a guy like Mateusz Rebecki, he lands takedowns. He can go for takedowns when he chooses to. Sometimes he just wants to stand and bang on the feet, but other times he really tries to go for the wrestling approach, and he can have a lot of success here. I mean, you can see from his stats, 3.46 takedowns landed on average per 15 minutes, insane at 65% accuracy as well. The dude can wrestle if he wants to. It's just sometimes he gets into these drawn-out wars where his cardio can't hang. So he's not one of those guys who can grapple and wrestle for 3 full rounds. He's going to death gas, and we've seen him struggle with that before and getting finished in the later rounds. That could happen, so that's why he doesn't really go for that real heavy wrestling game plan the entire time. However, on the feet, I do have a slight lean for Ludovit Klein. Did I move this shit? Sorry. I got a slight lean for Ludovit Klein. This is where I had the stats. So, crank the numbers. I was like, all right, so fighters, Ludovit Klein in this spot, he has a 6-inch reach advantage, which is pretty significant. You know, I looked at it, I was like, all right, fighters with a 6-inch reach advantage, statistically, fighters with a 6-inch reach advantage win roughly 57% of the time. So I'm looking at that as, okay, he's coming into this on paper. That doesn't include any other factors, just a historically accurate 57% of the time, he should win this fight. And that, look at his money line, minus 150. That is a 60% chance implied probability. That's right around where the bookies have it. Obviously, a little bit of VIG incorporated, a little booster there. But basically, that's where they have this fight lined. And I kind of agree with it. Now, obviously, it's not just the damn reach advantage that he has. There's a million more factors than that. I just think as long as Ludovit Klein is able to keep this on the feet, he's probably going to have some success with the boxing. I wouldn't be surprised. The one thing I want to say about this too that is interesting, that's a bit of a curveball in the spot that I haven't really seen anyone else talking about, is that these guys are both southpaws. And I had it in my notes too. This is the last time that Klein fought another southpaw was against Gamrot, where he was nearly tripled up on significant strikes over 15 minutes, which wasn't a great look, even though that did include nearly 9 minutes of control time that Gamrot had against Klein. And at the same time, for Rebecki, we've never seen him go against another southpaw in the UFC. So southpaw versus southpaw, these guys could look a whole lot different, and this could stylistically be a very different matchup than we might think, and it could look a whole lot different than fights in the past, because we've never seen this southpaw versus southpaw matchup from either of these guys, except when we saw Ludovit Klein go against Gamrot as a southpaw like we talked about, where he really got worked in that fight. So I do have that concern. Finally, the last thing I'll say is that Mateusz Rebecki is making a very, very quick comeback in the spot. I mean, he just got obliterated. His face was destroyed less than 3 months ago. So he had to recover from that, get all the stitches. I saw his face. It was mangled. I mean, it was nasty. He had to recover from that. In under 3 months, he's already back fighting again. Maybe his chin is compromised. We don't really know. I mean, you can look at the stats. Hasn't technically been knocked down. However, I do have that worry, kind of concern in the back of my mind, almost like a Charles Oliveira coming back after getting knocked out. Not the same. I mean, Rebecki wasn't knocked out, but it was just not a great look. I mean, he really went through hell. He went through war. He got a lot of damage inflicted upon him in that fight. So maybe he could be a tad compromised in the spot. Whereas Ludovit Klein, last time we saw him, Gamrot just wrestle fucked him. I mean, it wasn't like he got his ass kicked, and it wasn't like he took an insane amount of damage and that you'd be worried about. So that being said, you know, the not short notice, but just Rebecki not really fully taking as much time off as he should in this fight. He's going into this fight with quite a big reach disadvantage in the spot, and I think Ludovit Klein honestly is probably the quicker, sharper boxer. Even though very competitive, I think it'll be very sharp on the feet back and forth. Rebecki does have good hands, but I think Klein could have a slight advantage here. I do worry about the southpaw versus southpaw like we talked about, but I'm just ever so slightly leaning towards Klein. I am a big fan of Klein. I really do think his boxing is super, super crisp. I think that Gamrot fight really kind of put a negative spin on him that he doesn't really deserve. I think he can bounce back, and Gamrot is pretty elite. At the same time, he's a very high-level guy. Those Klein's really first big step up like that, so maybe he just wasn't quite ready. At 30 years old, I can see Klein getting better and better, and I think against a guy like Rebecki, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of grappling early on. I think if the grappling starts to come, it'll be Rebecki later in the fight, or if he realizes, oh shit, I'm a bit behind in the striking on the feet, maybe he starts to implement some more grappling, but that will really start to slow him down the further this fight goes on. So I like Klein, like I said, but ever so slightly. I think this could go either guy's way, but gun to my head, I'll say Klein. So next up, wait, did I skip one? Nope. Next up, we got Ikram Aliskerov versus Jung Park. I almost want to pick Jung Park in this spot, but then I think about it and I'm like, why was this fight made? This is like an Ikram Aliskerov booster fight. I mean, this is like a record-padding booster fight in the sense of, we've seen Ikram Aliskerov. If you look through this man's record, we're going to go through this right now. He has gotten some of, if not the most favorable matchmaking you could possibly have. Besides the Rob Whittaker fight, I mean, he's not been on the toughest journey. I mean, they gave him Phil Hawes, chinny. They gave him Warley Alves, he's chinny, able to run right through him. They gave Rob Whittaker destroyed this man. I mean, he ran right through Ikram Aliskerov like it was a joke to Whittaker. I mean, no respect, no care, no regard at all for anything coming back his way. Whittaker just walked him down. We saw Chimaev do the same thing against him years ago. Like I said, I know very high-level guys that have ran right through him, but it's like when he has that jump up in competition, he looks like shit. It does not look good. And then we saw who after that. Oh yeah, Andre Muniz. That's like the most cakewalk matchup he could have had. I mean, you give him a chinny grappler, and that's what he does. He wants to keep it on the feet. I mean, he can wrestle. Ikram can wrestle, but he has some hands too. I'm not going to say he's a bad striker. As you can see, his significant striking differential is positive by quite a bit. He does get hit quite a bit, but he lands quite a bit too. It's just like the level of competition he's been given chinny guys in favorable matchups, pretty much besides the damn Whittaker fight. And that was really where he was exposed. I was against him. I picked Whittaker in that spot. That made no sense. How he was a close line in that spot too. I forget what his money line was, but I believe he was not quite a pick'em, but a slight underdog in that spot. I'm like, oh my goodness, against Rob Whittaker? who the hell decided this line? So anyway, I do have a little bit of a reserve about him, and I've never really been super high on Ikram Al-Askarov. I know a ton of people like love him a lot, but I really do worry if this fight goes on late, it could be a concern. I feel like this match was made though, because Jung Park, veteran, crafty, nice, got a nice win in his last fight with the whole point deduction and everything. It was pretty much guaranteed as long as he didn't get finished in that spot. But I will say though, he's a crafty vet. I feel like they made this match because he's not the most dangerous. I mean, we see Jung Park in the UFC go into decisions quite frequently, and I think against a guy like Ikram Al-Askarov, he can't handle another huge power puncher. They're like, all right, we'll give you someone like Iron Turtle, who's not the most dangerous. He kind of can just outwork you, and if you start to slow down, Jung Park can start to take over. You know what I mean? He's not the most explosive, dangerous guy that's just running right through people. And I feel like they made this matchup because Ikram Al-Askarov needs someone like that. He needs someone that he can't just worry about some little Tasmanian devil coming his way. Who did they give him? Jung Park. At the same time, though, Ikram Al-Askarov has had cardio issues. He's had durability issues. I am not super high on him. I mean, in terms of the wrestling, he should be the better wrestler here. And his hands are not bad. I mean, he has decent striking. Not proven against anyone very well, besides a Chimaev or a Whitaker where he got smoked, like I said. So, Jung Park, crafty vet. He's definitely climbing an upward hill battle here, or fighting an uphill battle, whatever the hell. Because he's definitely, the odds are against him. The tables have turned on him, and this is not the most favorable matchup. He's fighting this guy, Ikram Al-Askarov, in Abu Dhabi. Like I said, if these rounds are close, they're probably going to go Ikram's way if he can't get a finish early on. I can't say I would be mind blown though if Ikram Al-Askarov really goes for a finish early on, can't get it, starts to get tired. Jung Park comes back, wins the third round. We're looking at a split decision. I could see it. Do I think that realistically happens? Probably not. I just don't know if I could see Ikram Al-Askarov running right through Jung Park. I just don't know if I could see that. Like I don't know how this fight plays out. The line just makes sense. Like, if this was in the Apex, I would place a bet right now on Jung Park. But we're in Abu Dhabi. Anything could happen. I just have this doubt in the back of my mind, like there could be some shenanigans. I feel like this fight was made for a reason. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me on this one, because I know some people are really all in on Ikram Al-Askarov this week. They're like riding on him super high, and I can get it why. Like, if it's maybe a back and forth technical striking match, you could lean a guy like Ikram Al-Askarov. I mean, he's going to come in here. He's the younger guy. He's going to be more quick, more athletic, probably 2-3 inch reach advantage. Southpaw going against the orthodox guy. He's fighting in Abu Dhabi as the Russian, the OV last name. I mean, he has multiple edges in this spot. He has his advantages. The odds are in his favor. I don't know how much Jung Park would have to do to cause the upset. I don't know if he's finishing Al-Askarov. He would just have to have a really dominant performance on the scorecards. I don't know if he could do that. I really don't know. So the pick's got to be Ikram Al-Askarov for now. I'm kind of being a wuss on it, even though my heart is kind of telling me Jung Park. Maybe Jung Park spread, possibly. But for now, I guess I'm being a little soft, but take Ikram Al-Askarov. Next up, Alexander Rakic versus Azamat Murzakanov. I already placed a bet on Azamat Murzakanov. I'm only human. Now, I like Rakic a lot. I like him as a person. He seems like a cool dude, and I feel bad that he's gone through a lot of injuries throughout the past that have really kind of hindered him. It does suck. You hate to see it. This is one of those fights, honestly. We got an OV in Abu Dhabi. Azamat Murzakanov, he's one of those guys. It's not just that. It's just the fact that we got a coin toss like this. I want to ride with the undefeated guy. Azamat Murzakanov, his strikings look pretty crisp. Yes, he has had cardio issues in the past where he has not looked great, I will say. And at this weight class, he is honestly a bit undersized. He definitely is not the biggest guy out there. At 5'10" versus Rakic is 6'4". I mean, it's going to look like a huge height discrepancy here. It's going to look like John Jones versus Mighty Mouse. I mean, it's going to be a huge, huge difference here in size. I just have worries about Rakic, man. I do have worries about his durability. I just think Azamat Murzakanov is one of those guys where he just keeps proving me wrong. He goes into these fights with reach disadvantages, or whatever disadvantage, the size disadvantage, the height disadvantage, the experience disadvantage, and he just somehow keeps running through guys and knocking them out. Now, against Brenson Ribeiro, yeah, I mean, we all kind of saw that coming. But, I mean, he's still beating high-level kickboxers like Dustin Jacoby's, where he's going into these fights with disadvantages in terms of stylistically and his physical build. He just has this power, man, this power that just really puts guys out of there. he's just able to just finish guys and run right through them. You can see last 5 fights, the one decision, that was the Dustin Jacoby fight. I was like, besides that, he's knocked out a ton of guys too. So I feel like there's one that I'm blanking on that I wanted to talk about in this. No, it was Ribeiro. Oh, Alonzo Menifield, yeah, who's actually pretty durable. I mean, Alonzo Menifield, we've seen he's been able to take a beating at times. Dustin Jacoby, he has been a chinny in the past, but still went to a decision, unanimously won that fight. Devin Clark, yeah, Matheus, yeah, not the best, but he's one of those guys. He just keeps proving me wrong, man, and I'm just tired of doubting this guy. I'm tired of doubting him. I'm tired of going against him. I mean, he just keeps proving his way to get through. And I think in this spot, this is a winnable fight. I mean, Rakic, you look at his record. I mean, he has not won a fight since 2021. I get it. It's against high-level guys. One was an injury loss. Then he fought the former champ. I totally get it. Don't get me wrong here. I just have my doubts. I mean, and I will say, he was piecing up Yuri before we got finished in that fight too. But it's just, if Yuri was able to chin him and get him out of there, I think it's only a matter of time before Azat touches that shin and knocks Rakic out. I worry about it. And if this is a really competitive back and forth point fight match, the UFC wants Azat to win. At this point, I feel like they're kind of just not tossing Rakic to the side, but I just feel like he's kind of not in the forefront. He's not been as marketable as they want. So if there's any BS going on, and I don't want to lead as like including that as a main reason of thought here, but at the same time, we see week after week, there's always some new bullshit. I mean, we had Jake Matthews, we had Joel Alvarez, then we just had Kyle Nelson, Matt Pravola. I mean, it's every week there's something. Now we're in Abu Dhabi, and we got the OV. I'm only human picking the OV here. But at the same time, I really do think Rakic's durability is a potential concern that I think a guy like Azamat Murzakanov can definitely take advantage of. I agree. I don't think the line is off, though. I think Azamat should be a slight favorite. He has been on a nice little streak. He has the momentum. The trajectory is in his favor, even though he's the older guy here, which is kind of crazy. But I do think he's just been 14-0 or 15-0, sorry. He's been proven that he is unstoppable so far, even though I guess the level of competition, I know, not the same. Rakic is facing much higher level guys, and size for size, Azamat really could be a middleweight. So, I mean, I get why people are taking Rakic, and you're totally valid. Like, I'm really not completely dead set on Azamat in this spot. I just think the value is on him. I can't trust Rakic to take him as basically a pick'em. I mean, even money on this for a guy who hasn't had a win since 2021, who's had injury problems, has durability problems. If Yuri chinned him, I think Azamat can chin him. And that's the thing too. Azamat, he's going into these fights with these size disadvantages, and he's still finding ways to really crash the pocket and clip guys. I mean, he keeps doing it. The cardio is a concern. I think Rakic has the better cardio here. He's going to have a big reach advantage, 7-inch reach disadvantage. So statistically on paper, in terms of their physical attributes, Rakic does have a clear edge. I don't know. I'm going Azamat in this one. I think he can win this. But like I said, wouldn't be surprised if Rakic won it. Could go either guy's way. I think the line's pretty accurate, but give me Azamat Murzakanov. Next up, we got Alexander Volkov versus Jailton Almeida. Now, this is a tricky one. I think Volkov's being underrated in the spot. I will not lie to you. I'm letting this line get wider and wider and wider because I think if this line gets wide enough, I will definitely put a little sprinkle on Alexander Volkov because I think he is being underestimated. He beat Ciryl Gane on a nice little streak. If you don't count that loss because he won that fight, he's on a 5-fight win streak. And the thing with Jailton Almeida, yes, he can probably take Volkov down. Yes, he's the better grappler. And I totally get why people are thinking that. And I mean, it's right. They're correct in thinking that. It's just, I have this sense with Jailton Almeida, that loss against Curtis Blades, fight IQ problem. The second he wasn't able to have his way, he kind of just froze up and short-circuited. Did not give me a lot of confidence. And ever since then, Jailton Almeida is just not one of those guys I really want to get behind at big favorite lines. It just, I don't know, maybe it's just like a blemish that's like really just stuck in my mind that I can't get out. But ever since then, I'm like, I just have my worries about Jailton Almeida. However, elite level grappling, he has the takedown abilities to really take a guy like Volkov down, who really, 72% takedown defense for Volkov. Jailton Almeida can take him down. And it's probably a matter of when he takes him down. And at that point, Volkov is one of those guys where I could see him being content off of his back and Jailton just kind of wet blanketing his way to a win here. As much as I don't want to see it. However, it's just in the back of my mind, I have this thought of, what if Volkov stuffs the takedowns? If he keeps it on the feet, Jailton's striking's gotten better. It's gotten better. It's gotten a little bit better. Is it enough, though? If this was 15 minutes on the feet, is it enough? Who knows? Who knows? And I don't really think there's going to be a whole lot of hometown bias here, but we do have an OV in Abu Dhabi versus a Brazilian. There is a chance, though, Jailton Almeida could definitely take Volkov down, submit his ass right away. I would not be completely mind-blown if he got submitted in the spot. We've seen it before. He's been submitted 3 times. What's to say he can't get submitted for the 4th time? Won't be mind-blown here, because Jailton Almeida is the better grappler. I just have this weird concern about this fight. I don't know. I know a lot of people that are all in on Jailton Almeida this week, and I totally get it. Maybe there's just something they're seeing that I'm not quite seeing. I think both these guys are high level, though. And I just think Volkov is a bit... I think he's underrated because he's not really the most dangerous. Like, I know he has a ton of knockouts, but I really just feel like he's not the most dangerous. I don't know if you agree with me on that or not. I just feel like he can kind of, I don't want to say point fight his way through fights at times, but like he kind of just, I don't want to say go through the motions either, but like there's certain times where it's like, I could see a guy like Jailton Almeida having some success because Alexander Volkov really, he likes to use his range. He likes to really just keep a clean, organized fight. You know what I mean? He's not really crashing out and like making it explosive, and he's really like, making it into like a dumpster fire. He's fine, just kind of sticking at his own little pace there. And I think against a guy like Jailton Almeida, if you want to beat him, you got to make it chaos. You got to get him out of his comfort zone. You can't just let him shoot a million takedowns and hold you against the cage for 15 minutes. And I just don't know if Volkov's going to be able to do enough to really get a guy like Jailton Almeida off of his groove, kind of throw him off his groove, get him uncomfortable, get him off his balance. Because we saw against Curtis Blades, when he wasn't able to have his way in the grappling, he froze up. I just don't know if Volkov's going to be able to do that. I don't know if he has the defensive grappling to really be able to stop a guy like Jailton. The pick's going to be Jailton Almeida, but I do have my concerns about this one. I could see Volkov making this closer than the line suggests, even if he still loses the fight. But we'll have to see. So next up, we got Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista. You look at this line and you're like, wow, that's pretty damn wide. But then you really think about it and like, well, Umar is probably better than Mario Bautista everywhere. I mean, he's a better striker, better grappler, better wrestler. I just don't know how Mario Bautista is going to win this fight. Yeah, he beat Patchy Mix, but that win has aged like absolute piss. He damn near lost to my goat, Jose Aldo. I got the robbery there, but I mean, you look through his fights, like he's making it close with guys that are not as good as Umar. Umar really was about to beat Merab. I know I talked about that in the last breakdown when Merab was fighting, but I mean, literally, Umar was 30 seconds away from winning the belt. I mean, 30 seconds away. And then Merab points at him, knocks him for a second, stumbles him, hits an emote, goes crazy with the crowd, and he literally won the fight. Because it was tied. It was 2-2 going into that 5th round. Umar was almost the champion, and I really think he could beat Merab. I mean, he is that high of a level. He's great everywhere. I believe he broke his hand in that fight too. The cardio was a bit of a potential concern, but that was later on. This is a 3-rounder. The guy is 18-1, and I think it's 18-1. That record has a lot more weight than Mario Bautista's 16-2. I really like Umar Nurmagomedov in the spot, and especially, I mean, the Abu Dhabi. That's where we're fighting. We got the OV, Khabib 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. I mean, if this is even remotely close, I do not see a world where Umar loses this fight. I mean, genuinely. This goes to the scorecards. We just saw a couple weeks ago or a month ago or whatever. I didn't even watch the fight, but I got bombarded by all the hate on Twitter about like the other Nurmagomedov, the other one in the PFL who he fought. I forget who the hell he fought, the Hughes guy. And they were like robbery, like complete robbery. People were losing their minds. Abu Dhabi, close decision, completely went for the OVs. I would not be surprised if this is the exact same way too. I genuinely would not be surprised. I think this minus 600 price tag, the fact that we're in Abu Dhabi, it actually makes sense. And I think it's honestly not the worst parlay piece. I mean, if you want to play Umar at this odd in a parlay piece, I don't think it's bad value. I think there's actually value in that. As crazy as it sounds, if it was in the Apex, hell no. Hell no. I don't think he should be this far of a line. But I mean, Umar, for him to lose this fight, he'd have to sell. I mean, he'd have to really shit the bed. And I think Mario Bautista is pretty damn good. He's slept on. Very elite level fighter. I just don't think he has enough in the tank to beat Umar here. But anyway, pick's got to be Umar. Yeah, I don't see him losing. But anyway, next up, we got Verna Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern. This is another one. I think this is I know the line's gotten a little bit tighter on this fight. It was a bit of a coin toss. Now, Mackenzie Dern's starting to take over. But, I think it makes sense. Now, I was looking at this statistically. In terms of rematches, the winner of the first match wins more than 70% of the time. So to see the line start to shift towards Mackenzie Dern, it does make sense, because if you just look at the historical lines on this, I know these girls, it was years ago. Both these girls have gotten a lot better since then. I totally get it. Don't get me wrong. It's just, if you look at it, you go by the stats, the numbers don't lie. I can get why she's becoming more and more of a favorite. She is younger, and it's a good age to be younger. At 32, I mean, she's really in her physical prime. Yeah, Mackenzie Dern's had her problems in the past. We've seen her knocked out. We've seen her drop before. I mean, you can see her knockdown ratio. She's landed 2 knockdowns. She's been knocked down 6 times. The chin has been a bit of a concern in the past. However, Virna Jandiroba ain't exactly Floyd Mayweather. I mean, it's not like she's got to be worried about a whole lot of power coming back her way. There's just going to be a whole lot of grappling. I mean, maybe, who knows? Grappler versus grappler, maybe it ends up being a whole lot of striking. Maybe they might cancel each other out and they end up striking on the feet for a whole while. That could make this line pretty damn tight. It can make it very interesting. It could make this fight very close. I don't know. I just think both these girls are very high level. I really don't have a super strong lean on either girl. I do like the raw submission abilities of a Mackenzie Dern, but I do like the grappling and just the pressure that Virna Jandiroba can put on girls too. So I'm torn. I mean, you look at both of their records. I mean, you can see Virna's on this nice little streak, although she is 37. She's still competitive. She's on this nice little 5-fight win streak. You look at Mackenzie Dern, I'm like, she's coming off of a knockout loss, decision loss. I mean, she's had her adversity. She's had her up and downs. And you can look at those fights too. The last 5 fights on the bottom there, 2024 and 2023. It's not like they're 5 years ago. So you could have those concerns, because she is losing against higher level girls, but not world beaters. I mean, we've seen her lose to Andrade, get knocked out. I mean, there have been blemishes on her record. So don't get me wrong. I just think in a 5-round fight, this could help Mackenzie Dern. I think if she can go longer, she's going to have more opportunities to land a submission. And I know Virna Jandiroba's never been submitted, but Mackenzie Dern just has this dominant pressure. She's strong. She can really get you. She likes her arm bars. I mean, she's one of those girls where she can brute force her way through a lot of positions. And I think she could win a lot of scrambling positions in this fight against Virna. But at the end of the day, this is a close fight. Both these ladies are very high level. This could go either way. I'm leaning Mackenzie Dern. I'm more so leaning to, I'm kind of going with the numbers on this one. 70% chance whoever wins the first match likely wins again. That's why I placed a small little bet on Mackenzie Dern. I'm just kind of letting the numbers do the work for me. And if we're wrong, I'm okay with living with that. I'm okay, because I do think this is a very high-level fight between 2 very high-level girls. So I'm not really torn either way, or I'm not sold either way all that much. Let me know your guys' opinions on this one in the comments, because this is one I'm really interested to hear you guys' opinions on. Same with the Jelton Almeida fight too, because I feel like there's a lot of, they're both very high-level guys and girls, and there's a lot of stuff that maybe I'm missing. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing, and there's a whole lot of stuff to consider. We can have a ton of extensive research on their fights and before too. I really like looking at the data for these types of fights too, because so many fights between these girls. I mean, there's a whole lot of data to go off of. There's a whole lot of things that we can see from their records. So let me know if I'm missing anything on these. But especially with this fight though, I'm really a bit torn. Like I said, I'm leaning Mackenzie Dern, but I'm not too committed. I'm not too sold on her. But anyway, in terms of this video, we'll talk about it more in the locks and traps video. But in terms of the breakdown for now, the pick's got to be Mackenzie Dern, but ever so slightly. Next up, Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane. Now, I know in some of these previous fights, I've been a little bit conflicted. I've gone either way on some of them of who I think is going to win. In terms of this one, that is where that stops. I'll say it right now. Ciryl Gane wins this fight. Just kidding. Tom Aspinall by whatever the hell he wants. I mean, Tom Aspinall is probably the lock of the year, if not the century. I mean, Tom Aspinall is the greatest, if not yet, he will be the greatest heavyweight of all time, and it's not going to be close. I don't know how anyone is picking Ciryl Gane to win this fight. He is a fraud. He is not good at MMA, and he's going to be exposed by the GOAT, Tom Aspinall. And it's not even close. I mean, we'll break it down. We'll break it down. But I'm telling you guys right now, if you just don't want to hear about any of the points or any research or any data or any nothing, yabba dabba dabba, you just want the pick, Tom Aspinall by whatever the hell he wants, whenever the hell he wants. It's probably going to be an early finish, but if it goes late, it'll be because Tom wants to play with his food like a marab, and it's not going to be pretty for your boy Ciryl Gane. It's not going to be pretty at all. Tom Aspinall, via manslaughter. I mean, that's what this fight is going to look like. I'd be extremely, extremely surprised by any other outcome. I mean, literally, anyone who's even arguing for Ciryl Gane in this fight is basically saying you're praying that Tom Aspinall isn't able to finish him, even though he's been able to finish everyone in under 2 minutes, just about. I mean, all of his fights, the combined fight time is less than one of Ciryl Gane's full fights. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And so they're saying basically the only way Ciryl Gane can win is if Tom Aspinall magically can't finish Ciryl Gane. Also, like whatever, at the same time, it has to be also true that he isn't able to finish him. I'm trying to think of the word for that. But he can't finish him, and he has piss cardio, and he doesn't do enough in the earlier rounds to where Ciryl Gane is able to win rounds 3, 4, and 5. Or get a late finish because Tom Aspinall death gasses. I think the more likely outcome of Ciryl Gane, I think Ciryl Gane's most likely way to win this fight is Tom Aspinall blowing his knee out again. I mean, genuinely, I think Ciryl Gane has a higher chance of winning this fight due to Tom Aspinall's knee blowing out than him winning on the scorecards or getting a late finish. I genuinely believe that. I'm not even joking. Dead serious. I believe that. Tom Aspinall is a generational talent unlike anything we have ever seen before. Tom Aspinall would run right through Jon Jones, and if you don't think so, you might be a little delusional. Tom Aspinall would destroy Alex Pereira, and it would not be close. And if you think otherwise, you might be a little bit delusional. Why? Both of these guys, if you look, Tom Aspinall has quite literally, he retired Jon Jones. I don't think people realize how crazy that is. Jon Jones is supposedly the greatest of all time. And I think he when he was in his prime and when he was active at light heavyweight, he was at least top 5. I mean, maybe you think he's the GOAT, maybe you don't think he is in terms of like overall. But at least for light heavyweights, I mean, you could put him at the top. You could put him as the GOAT. I totally respect that, and I get it. That was years ago. I mean, when he fought Dominic Reyes and lost, technically won, but when he lost, that was 2020 or 2019, I believe. That Jon Jones is gone. That Jon Jones is no longer. Why would he retired? So basically, Jon Jones retired. He took a break. He was like, I'm done. 2020, when he fought Dominic Reyes, why would he come back 3 years later, move up to heavyweight, where it's not his natural weight class? Jon Jones at heavyweight he's tubby. He's a tubby old man now at heavyweight. Why would he take that fight against Ciryl Gane? Because it's the easiest fight he could have possibly had. I mean, the only person who would have been easier might have been like Marcin Tybura or Spivak, maybe. I don't know. I mean, that's like literally the most easy matchup he could have had. That's the only reason he came back. And then he stuck around, beat 85-year-old Stipe, and called it a day. He is not going to fight Tom Aspinall. I could almost guarantee you Jon Jones will never fight Tom Aspinall. It will never happen. His legacy is too important to him, and his ego is so big that Tom Aspinall beating his ass, he wouldn't be able to stand it. And the reason why I'm so high on Tom Aspinall is literally he is better than Ciryl Gane in every single aspect of the sport, and it's not just Ciryl Gane. It's not that I'm a Ciryl Gane hater. He seems like a cool dude, I guess. I don't know. It's just more Tom Aspinall is a generational specimen. I mean, he is 6'5", 255 pounds, I think he fights at. He is an absolute mammoth of a man, and he has the speed of a damn lightweight. I mean, the power, the speed, the ferocity, the finishing abilities of Tom Aspinall are second to none. No one even comes closer. I mean, if you break down Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane, Ciryl Gane has nothing going for him in this fight. I mean, Tom Aspinall is faster. He has better striking. He hits harder. He has the better chin. I mean, you look at the grappling is not even remotely close. I mean, the only way Ciryl Gane has a hope of a chance is in pure kickboxing. And he's still outmatched there. Ciryl Gane's not faster. He's not stronger. He doesn't hit harder. He doesn't have better technique. What does he have to win this fight? And in terms of the grappling, it is not even remotely close. Ciryl Gane is one of the most piss-poor grapplers in the entire heavyweight division. And Tom Aspinall, I mean, that's the easiest path. If Tom Aspinall wants to take him down and submit his ass in the first round, that outcome's there. I think he wants to probably chin Ciryl Gane first, then take his ass down to the ground. Who knows how it's going to go. I mean, look at the statistics on this man. Tom Aspinall has a plus 5.18 significant striking differential per minute. That is absolutely insane. And Ciryl Gane is pretty good at 3.03 when he's able to just point fight his way and kick around and maintain distance and kind of play his pretty little fight for 15 minutes that he likes to do. No, Tom Aspinall crashes the pocket and hurts people. I mean, Tom Aspinall is better everywhere. Look at the statistics. Better significant striking differential. He is more accurate. He's more defensively sound. He knocks you down, but you can't knock him down. And then you look at the grappling. He's landed 3.27 takedowns per 15 minutes. He has 100% takedown accuracy and 100% takedown defense. He can hit harder than you. He's faster than you. He's going to outbox you. If he can take you down, but you can't take him down. He has more power. He can chin you, but you can't chin him. I mean, Tom Aspinall is like the most OP video game character you could ever have. I mean, he needs a nerf. And he patched up that knee. After that knee blew out against Curtis Blades, he got surgery for it. He's back. That's the thing, too. People don't realize, Tom Aspinall, he even said, he was saying, like, before that knee injury, that was something that really haunted him and plagued his career. And that was something that he had to deal with in all of his fights. It was a big problem that he had to deal with. You realize, since he got that surgery, he's had 3 fights since then. Because he blew his knee out in 2022, July of 2022. He's had 3 fights since then. He knocked out Marcin Tybura in 1 minute and 13 seconds. He knocked out Sergey Pavlovich in 1 minute and 9 seconds. And then he knocked out Curtis Blades in 1 minute on the dot. I mean, since the knee got fixed, he is an absolute specimen freak of nature that has destroyed the entire division. I mean, if anyone's Thanos, it is Tom Aspinall, and Ciryl Gane is mid, and he stands absolutely no chance. I mean, he's so cooked. Let's look through Ciryl Gane. I mean, you look through his record, and I feel like I'm probably one of the people out there who's the most confident in Tom Aspinall. Everyone's saying, well, maybe Ciryl Gane's able to drag it into later waters. Maybe Tom Aspinall slows down. That's pretty much the only argument you could ever have for Ciryl Gane. If he doesn't get absolutely murdered in the first 10 minutes, maybe Tom Aspinall starts to slow down. Maybe he starts to come back there. Maybe Ciryl Gane can then go and win rounds 3, 4, and 5 because Tom Aspinall is death gassed and Tom Aspinall has no cardio. What if that happens? I think there's a better chance of Tom Aspinall blowing his knee out than that happening personally, but I guess it could happen. But if you look through Ciryl Gane, we're going to look through his record. We can compare the 2 records of these guys because we're not going to talk about the Curtis Blades knee blowing out loss. That's not a loss. I mean, it's unfortunate. I know technically it is, but I'm not counting that. That gave us nothing. He's healed from that injury. There's nothing there. So we're going to talk about Tom too. But we're going to talk about Ciryl Gane first. All right. From Ciryl Gane, in his last fight, he lost to Volkov. I know he technically won in terms of the judging. Watch that fight back. He lost. He lost to Volkov. Volkov beat Ciryl Gane. Argue with the wall. Ciryl Gane lost that fight. So he's coming into this off of a loss. Before then, he got a knockout over Sergey Spivak. Give him credit for that loss. Spivak didn't even try to grapple in that fight. He just was content of doing a back and forth pitter-patter striking match against Ciryl Gane. That's the fight that Ciryl Gane wants to have. He wants to have that back and forth pitter-patter kickboxing fight. Spivak, he shot 1 takedown through that entire fight. It was a round 2 knockout. He shot 1 takedown. Uno. He didn't get it. And after that, he was basically screwed. He just kind of gave up. And that's the thing too. Ciryl Gane technically knocked him out. He gave up. I mean, he was on the feet and he kind of just curled over and started curling up. And he was basically like, I'm out of here. Give me the door. He quit. It wasn't like he got chinned and he got knocked out. No, he curled over and he gave up in that fight. But Spivak didn't even try to grapple. Easiest win that Ciryl Gane could have possibly had in that spot. Then before that, he got completely destroyed by Jon Jones. And people look at that, it's like, well, it's Jon Jones. No, that is a fat, heavyweight Jon Jones out of his prime. That is not the same Jon Jones who fought Daniel Cormier. Completely different guy. Heavyweight Jon Jones. Jon Jones should not be at heavyweight. The fact that he's coming back and taking these fights, he doesn't want to cut the weight. He's not a real competitor. Jon Jones, at this point in time, is washed. And he's not coming back. And if he does, it's going to be against a guy like a Pereira who he can take down and have success on the ground. That's the only way that Jon Jones is going to come back, is if he feels he can win a fight. Tom Aspinall would run right through him. He knows there's no point. He doesn't want to get decimated by Tom Aspinall. He doesn't want to deal with that. I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. But at the same time, we got to be real here. That's why he doesn't want to take that. But that's the thing. He got decimated by Jon Jones. Literally, Jon Jones came off of a 3-year layoff. Up a weight class. Just because it was for fun. Let me try it. Ciryl Gane's, he's ass. I can just run right through him. And that's exactly what he did. I mean, the way he got that guillotine against the fence immediately. Ciryl Gane, he has this kickboxing base. And he's been able to go against guys who are of shit grappling. He just throws his kicks out like range. He's like it's nothing. He doesn't really put any thought behind it. He's not the highest fight IQ guy. He doesn't really make the best decisions because he doesn't have anything to worry about. Now he's fighting a guy. When he fought Jon Jones, he got caught overextending on shots. Jon Jones was able to take him down immediately. And from then, it was night-night. Keep your butthole tight. It was a terrible look for Ciryl Gane. And if you think that a 37-year-old fat heavyweight Jon Jones off a 3-year layoff stepping up, basically just hopping up off the couch saying, all right, let's go try something at heavyweight. If you think that is the same level as a prime Tom Aspinall, in the prime of his career, taking his career more serious than anything else, oh, it's not even going to be close. It's not even remotely close. It is terrible. It's literally terrible. And that's the thing, too. People, they think Jon Jones is just the GOAT. And I respect that. I think he's a GOAT status for sure. But you look at that point in time, I literally put this in my notes. I was like, before this fight, Jon had not fought in 3 years. And when he did, it was a robbery decision win against Dominic Reyes. And I believe it was 2019 or 2020. And then before that, he won a split decision against Thiago Santos, who's 1-6 in his last 7. And then before that, he beat Anthony Smith, where he could have easily lost that fight if Anthony Smith said, I don't want to play anymore for the illegal shots. He didn't. He could have lost that fight there. I mean, that's not the same Jon Jones 10 years prior. And you can't compare the two like they're the same. Then before that, so that was the submission loss there. The submission loss. Before that, he goes tit for tat in the striking against Tai Tuivasa. Tai Tuivasa drops his ass. Tuivasa drops Gane. Almost could have finished Ciryl Gane. You're getting dropped and nearly finished by Tai Tuivasa. You don't think Tom Aspinall is going to run right through this guy? I mean, Tom Aspinall knocks everyone out. I mean, Pavlovich hadn't been knocked out since, I don't know, 2019. He had one knockout loss in his whole record before that. And you don't think Tom Aspinall is going to do the same? He's knocking guys who have not been knocked out. Ciryl Gane's getting his chin cracked by Tai Tuivasa. And then finally he's able to get a third-round knockout. Finally. After he gets dropped. Not a good look. And then before that, Before the last loss, you can see on the bottom here too, the decision loss 2022, that's against Francis Ngannou. And people think, oh, well, no, Francis Ngannou's absolutely insane. Francis Ngannou's good. Don't get me wrong. He's good. Francis Ngannou came into that fight injured. His knees were all fucked up in that fight. He had 2 knee sleeves on both knees. He looked like Jared Gordon after he got hit by a car. That was the Ngannou that he fought. And that's the worst thing about this entire fight. He made Francis Ngannou look like prime Khabib. He got out-grappled by Francis Ngannou with no knees. This guy, I mean, Ciryl Gane, literally, he has no grappling. We've seen his chin cracked by Tai Tuivasa. Jon Jones demolished him in the grappling. Fat, out of shape, heavyweight Jon Jones. Not prime, lightweight, roided up Jon Jones. No. How is Ciryl Gane going to make this fight competitive? How? I don't get it. I really don't see a reality for this at all. Tom Aspinall, that's the thing too I want to talk about Tom. He is in the prime of his career and he is so focused. He's never really technically won the belt at this point. Say what you want, interim, I know when he won and they technically announced like they stripped Jon and all that. He has not won the belt. He's still as hungry as can be. I was watching an interview of Tom Aspinall and he said Netflix should offer him a deal for a documentary. He said they could offer me a $500 million deal. He would turn it down because he's so focused on his career. Nothing is worth more to him than his career right now and his legacy. Not even $500 million. Tom Aspinall is so locked in and so dialed and so focused. And I've been watching all of Tom Aspinall's training footage. He even said for this camp, he's the strongest, he's the fastest. He literally said he's been working on his cardio more than anything else. He's ready to go long. He's ready to get it done in 1 round. Tom Aspinall, I'm telling you guys right now, Tom Aspinall is a lock. A lock. Ciryl Gane is going to get smoked. And it's not going to be close. It is not going to be close. I mean, Tom Aspinall has ran through everyone. Look at the numbers. Watch the tape. Ciryl Gane's a movie star now. He's doing B-grade movies. What the hell is he doing? Ciryl Gane has lost every title fight. He's looked god-awful. Oh, no, he beat Derek Lewis. Give him that. After eventually wearing him down and weathering the early storm, he was able to get Derek Lewis out of there by basically folding over and quitting in the 3rd round by knockout. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Tom Aspinall is running through everyone. I mean, he demolishes. I can't stress this enough, guys. Tom Aspinall is probably one of my favorite picks of the year. Tom Aspinall is going to win this fight. I don't want to keep ranting about this. I feel like there's something else I want to say too. Is there something else I want to say? Oh, this is the last part I want to say. Because I really do think Ciryl Gane, yeah, he's a decent kickboxer. That's his best bet. That's the only thing he has going for him. I mean, really, that's it. That's all I got in this. We've seen him go long. Oh, there's one other thing I want to say too. About that Ngannou fight, the craziest part about that is not that he lost by grappling, that he made Ngannou look like damn prime Khabib. Ngannou has lost every decision he's ever been to. Ciryl Gane was able to give Francis Ngannou his first and only win by decision by Ciryl making him look like prime Khabib. I mean, that's literally the only decision win he's ever had in his entire career, because Ciryl Gane's grappling is that fucking bad. That is the only way that this ever happened. Francis Ngannou's never won a decision ever. Besides that, it just goes to show how poor Ciryl Gane is on the ground. And on contrary, that's my little follow-up to this. Tom Aspinall has elite grappling. Elite grappling. Now, the stats on this are absolutely insane in terms of the grappling for both of these guys. This is probably one of the most important things I want to talk about in this entire breakdown, because I'm about to wrap it up. Grappling is not even remotely close in this fight. And it is the way that Tom Aspinall, it's like his ace in his back pocket of how he's going to make this a one-sided ass kicking. Now, you look at the time between them, or the stats between them. The control rate between both of these two fighters, meaning for the time that these guys are in the clinch or on the ground, the control time, meaning how much, or the percent of the time that these guys, either one of them, are the one that's on top, in control. The one pressuring their opponent, either on top, working them against the cage, in control. Tom Aspinall is not quite 100%. It's like 99.999999. You want to know what that is? Tom has only been controlled, technically on the stats, for exactly 1 second. 1 second. I mean, not 1 minute, 1 second. And across every single Tom Aspinall fight in the UFC, he has been controlled for a total of 1 second. And you want to know when that 1 second was? When he blew out his knee against Curtis Blades. They technically gave Curtis Blades 1 second of control time. I'm talking in scrambles. Tom Aspinall wins every single scramble he's ever been in. Ever. He's never had an opponent control him for even 1 second. Because that Blades fight, I mean, he fell down because he blew his knee out. I don't even count that. An opponent has not even gotten a single second. You look at Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane he wins 53% of his control. He has 53% of the time he's the one in control. And you want to know why? You're like, okay, that doesn't sound terrible. Oh no, it's terrible. Because you look through his previous fights, the only time that he's winning the exchanges, there's only been 2 times where he's actually out-grappled his opponents. Only 2 times for Ciryl Gane. One was against Jair Rozenstruik in 2021, and the second, Don'Tale Mayes. That's the level of competition that Ciryl Gane can out-grapple. If you think that Don'Tale Mayes is better than Tom Aspinall, then maybe lock in Ciryl Gane as your lock of the year. Tom Aspinall, his grappling is not a Don'Tale Mayes. If Ciryl Gane thinks that Don'Tale Mayes level grappling is going to get him through this, oh, it's not, brother. It's not. Ciryl Gane is cooked. Cooked. Tom Aspinall, round 1 or round 2. I'd be extremely surprised if it went beyond the second round. Tom Aspinall, by whatever the hell he wants, though. If Tom Aspinall wants a round 5 leg lock with 3 minutes on the clock exactly, he'll get it. He can get whatever he wants in this fight. I'm telling you right now, I don't see it going out of the first round, though. And if for whatever reason it goes out of the second, Ciryl Gane's been lucky. Tom Aspinall, by whatever he wants. I don't care if you don't agree with what I'm saying, that's totally fine. But as I will tell you guys, don't bet on Ciryl Gane. Don't do it. Do not chase the dog line. It is not worth it. Tom Aspinall, lock of the year. I'm telling you guys right now, lock of the year. Probably one of my most confident picks of the entire year. Tom Aspinall has never failed me, and I do not think Ciryl Gane is going to be the guy to be able to finally crack the code of Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall by manslaughter. I mean, it's going to be by murder. But anyway, guys, I know this video's been long enough, but I wanted to talk about this one because, oh my goodness gracious, I see people saying, Ciryl Gane's going to win. Ciryl Gane is going night-night. By knockout, by submission, who the hell knows? Tom Aspinall is going to obliterate this man. He's going to pulverize his soul. And it's not going to be pretty. So anyway, guys, that does it for the breakdown, though. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you agree with some stuff, if you disagree, let me know in the comments. Let me know you guys' picks, who you like. If there's anything that I missed, any details you want to talk about, let me know down in the comments. I love to hear your guys' thoughts and your opinions and your feedback and all that. But anyway, guys, I'm going to get this one out to you guys. I'm going to get this video uploaded. I'm going to get this out. So I got to make the thumbnail real quick. It's getting a little bit late, but we're going to get this out tonight. So anyway, guys, thank you once again for all the love in the videos. Thank you guys for all the support. In the meantime, I'm going to get this video out to you guys. But yeah, I'm going to work on it. It's your boy Jacob from Topside MMA. Until I see you guys in the next one, I'm out. So, peace.